Arctic was not meant for human life. No rescue lines, no radio calls, no second chances. In the 1800s, men sailed north, chasing glory and the promise of the Northwest Passage. What they found instead was an endless prison of ice. Ships were crushed by frozen seas, food rotted, and scurvy hollowed their bodies. Imagine standing in darkness for months, the wind cutting like knives, your strength slipping away with every breath. Some men vanished without a trace. Others left behind journals, sentences frozen mid-thought, filled with fear and final prayers. And yet, a few endured. They learned from the Arctic itself, building shelters of snow, burning whale oil for heat, and eating raw seal meat to survive. How did they cling to life in a place that killed so many? Today we uncover the survival secrets of the forgotten Arctic explorers. The year was the age of ambition, when maps still carried blank spaces and kings demanded discoveries. The Arctic, a land of endless white, promised glory to any who could conquer it. Explorers believed the Northwest Passage would unlock wealth and power. Yet few understood the deathly price waiting beyond the horizon. Wooden ships creaked as they pushed through frozen seas, their sails stiff with ice, their compasses trembling with each gust of polar wind. The men aboard were driven by duty, curiosity, and the hope of immortality. But the further they sailed, the colder reality became. Icebergs loomed like cathedrals, and the sea itself seemed alive, shifting and closing around them. For these men, the Arctic was no longer just a place on a map. It was a living force, waiting silently to test every ounce of strength they thought they had. As weeks turned into months, the men realized they were trapped. The sun dipped below the horizon, and darkness stretched on, not for hours but for months. The Arctic night was endless, broken only by the faint shimmer of auroras dancing in the sky. Inside the ships, men huddled close to dim oil lamps, their breath visible in the frozen air. Isolation clawed at their minds. Every creak of the ship sounded like a ghost. Hunger gnawed at their strength, and frostbite stole fingers and toes. In the dark, men whispered about home, about the sun, about whether they would ever see spring again. But above all, they whispered about the silence. A silence so heavy, it seemed to press against their souls. It wasn't just the cold they feared, it was the crushing emptiness of the Arctic itself. By the second winter, food stores had dwindled. Salted meat had spoiled, biscuits turned to dust, and the men grew thin, their cheeks hollow, eyes sunken. Hunting was nearly impossible. Seals and caribou stayed hidden, and the ice denied them fish. Hunger drove them to desperate measures. Leather straps were boiled into broth, candle wax was eaten for calories, and rats became prized meals. Some men began to suspect worse, that survival might demand an unthinkable price. Tensions grew, arguments flared, and discipline frayed. The noble dream of exploration had turned into a daily struggle for life itself. Every morning, fewer men woke. Every night, more bodies were carried onto the ice, buried beneath snow drifts that would never melt. The Arctic was winning, and the explorers were losing, one starving breath at a time. The Arctic didn't just freeze bodies, it shattered minds. Endless white stretched in every direction, a horizon without landmarks. Men began seeing figures in the snow, hearing voices in the howling wind. Some swore they saw cities shimmering in the distance, mirages born of hunger and despair. Others laughed uncontrollably in the dark, broken by isolation. Commanders struggled to maintain control, but discipline gave way to madness. Men wandered from camp into the blizzard, never to return. Those who remained felt the crushing weight of hopelessness. Their journals, scratched with trembling hands, revealed the slow unraveling of sanity. The Arctic was not only an enemy of flesh, it was a predator of the human mind, devouring hope until nothing remained. At last, the ice crushed the ships beyond repair. Timbers splintered, masts collapsed, and the explorers knew they had no choice but to abandon their floating prisons. With sledges loaded, they set out across the frozen wasteland, dragging supplies with bleeding hands. Each step across the shifting ice was torture. Men collapsed in exhaustion, only to be pulled along by comrades equally near death. Hope lay hundreds of miles away, but the Arctic stretched endlessly, mocking every effort. The ships that had carried them into this hell were now tombs beneath the ice, claimed forever by the sea. Every mile forward was paid with blood, sweat, and frozen tears. Few believed they would make it, yet they marched on, because stopping meant death where they stood. Far from home, the starving explorers began noticing strange signs. Unforgiving, stone markers built by Arctic peoples, stood silently in the snow. Faint smoke sometimes curled on the horizon, proof of life in this desolate land. But fear and pride kept many explorers from seeking help. When contact did occur, it was brief and fragile. Indigenous hunters looked on these outsiders with pity, offering bits of seal meat or advice on survival. Yet cultural barriers and mistrust meant salvation often slipped away. The explorers, too weak and proud, stumbled past help that might have saved them. Later stories would emerge of Inuit hunters finding abandoned camps, frozen bodies, and journals that told of suffering beyond imagination. The Arctic had shown mercy through its people, but the explorers had often been too far gone to accept it. One by one, the explorers fell. The strongest carried the weak, but soon even the leaders collapsed into the snow. Journals described final prayers, letters to loved ones, and the unbearable cold that crept into their bones. Some died clutching sled ropes, others sitting quietly as if falling asleep. Their tracks stretched across the ice, fading into nothingness. The Arctic swallowed them without ceremony, burying their bodies beneath snow that would never melt. Only scraps remained: a button, a boot, a page of a diary, scattered across the tundra. For these men, glory had turned into silence, their ambition preserved in ice but forgotten by time. Their final march was not toward discovery, but into the eternal embrace of the white wilderness. Years later, search parties arrived, but they found only ghosts. Abandoned camps littered with broken stoves, journals frozen solid, and bones scattered by wolves. The ships remained entombed beneath the sea, time capsules of a doomed expedition. The Arctic had kept its secrets well. Even today, relics emerge from melting ice, buttons, knives, and human remains, silent witnesses to one of history's greatest tragedies. The explorers had set out seeking immortality, and in a way they found it. Their names live on, etched into history, not for discovering a passage, but for reminding the world of human fragility against nature's power. The Arctic remains unconquered, and the white silence still whispers their story, a warning to all who dare challenge its eternal cold. The story of the forgotten Arctic explorers is more than a tragedy frozen in time. It is a warning carved into the ice, a reminder that human ambition, no matter how bold, cannot tame the raw power of nature. These men believed they could outlast the Arctic, yet the Arctic claimed them instead. Their bones remain buried in snow, their journals preserved in silence. Every word speaks of courage, hunger, madness, and the slow surrender to a land that does not forgive. They sought glory, but what history remembers is caution. Even today, with technology, satellites, and modern gear, the lesson is unchanged. The earth is greater than us. Pride blinds, nature humbles. And those who forget this truth may share the same fate beneath the ice. Their story whispers across the frozen silence: respect nature, respect its limits. If this story moved you, share your thoughts below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more untold histories of survival and human struggle. Your support keeps these forgotten voices alive.